Blog Talk Radio.
I am your host, Alai Leighland. You are tuned to LWT TV, broadcasting live and on demand from Blog Talk Radio and LWTTV.com. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever and whenever you are. Welcome to Conversation Matters. I am your host, Alai Leighland, and today you guys get to meet the person that I have been talking about for the last 6 months. For those of you who have been with me online for a while, you know that when I did the Craft to Cash class, remember that book that I put up that said, I lost my job and I liked it? We've got her. We've got that woman today as a guest. And for those of you who have listened to me off and on in Craft to Cash and in the Boss Chronicles talking about this woman who travels all over the world and just goes wherever, that's the person who we're going to talk to. Her name is Lilou Macé. I keep calling her Macé. It's Mace. She was born in Santa Barbara and just has returned to Chicago from France. She is pursuing her life dream of being a host on the Oprah Winfrey Network. And the first time I saw Lilou was actually on YouTube, and I believe she was talking about raw food, and she had a show called The Juicy Life or something to that effect. And I watched that show and then followed her YouTube journey, ended up on Co-Create Your Reality, which is a 100-day reality challenge, and I've just kind of followed her life. So please join me in welcoming Lilou Macé to Conversation Matters. Lilou, are you with us?
Yes, hello. I'm so happy to be here with you. You're such an inspiration.
Wow, I that's what I think of you.
Light.
This is true. Now, I've got a ton of questions for you because every time I mention you in my classes, in my workshops, anything, people are always asking questions about you. But since I had never actually talked to you, I'd only know about your book and followed you on YouTube, I could only answer questions based on what I supposed, what I surmised. So I've got all those questions.
That's fantastic. I have to say I love your energy. I just can feel it from here. It's fantastic. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Okay, now I'm going to jump right in there because there are a lot of questions. And probably, first of all, for everyone who's listening, if you're hearing this, because this is going to go into the iTunes archives, if you're hearing this before July 3rd, please go to liloumace.com, LILOUMACE.com, and vote for Lilou to be on the Oprah Winfrey Network, OWN TV. She would be we're going to talk about this in the show, but she would have her own show on the OWN Network, and she is amazing. You want her to be out there in the world. So if you're hearing this before July 3rd, go and vote for her, and you can vote more than once. Okay, now.
You can vote as many times as you want.
Yes, just keep going back and voting. But you know what? I think that somehow I just know that you already are. And so, yes, I want people to go and vote, and I know that you already are, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the big questions that has come up, because, of course, I keep telling people all the different things that you do, oftentimes people who are not active on the Internet. So they don't quite understand YouTube and all of that. And so when I tell them about the different things that you're doing, they go, how does she do that? She must be really rich. Well, I think she's really rich spiritually. I'm not sure how rich she is otherwise. But if people are fascinated by how it is that you just pick up and go, because you were in Florida, you were in Chicago, you went back to London, and you just go when you need to go. How do you do that?
I keep light on my feet. No, I actually I love to travel, and that's always been, I've always wanted to create businesses that allow me to have this flexibility and to continue to travel the world and meet new people and grow. So first of all, I have the two passports, the French passport and the American passport. So technically that allows me to move around pretty easily. And then everything that I do right now is internet-based. So and I said that it was my intention, to set it that way. So when I go to on holiday, or when I go for a week here or 6 months there, I take my computer with me, and I'm working. I'm connected.
Exactly.
So because it has been my intention, you see, then everything that happens is according to that, and if it doesn't fit in there, then I don't move forward. So when I created my company when I was 23, Visit and then Empower You and Emotional Brands, it was all about being able to do this from anywhere. And if a contract would not allow this, then I would not accept it. So it's also about saying no to some other proposition, so that then you have the flexibility and you're aligned with what you truly want.
Exactly.
So, and most of the time we see money as the biggest excuse, not to follow our dreams and what we really want to do. But the best is to see things without that money concern. What would you really do? Because money is just an excuse. There is so many ways to create things.
Yes, there's trades, and there's giving you a service and then having the travel or whatever be your reward. There's giving information. There are many, many ways, and I've noticed that people oftentimes use money as an excuse not to move forward, as opposed to an obstacle. It's almost like they're afraid to move forward, so they say, I don't have the money. And the truth is that maybe they, are afraid, or they can't see their way through, or whatever, which is what I admire about you, because it seems as though when you see something that you want to go for,
I go for
it. Even though you might be scared, even though whatever, you just keep going forward.
Yeah, and that creates a lot of juiciness in life, It creates a lot of fun, and I love taking those risks, and I put myself in a situation where I will declare on video now to everyone, I'm doing this. And then I have to go for it, because I declared it. I said it out loud. I share that dream. So then things start aligning with that. I really put myself in a situation where I have no other choice but move forward with it.
Exactly.
And I just do it in the moment. I do it now. If there's something that feels right, and I'm inspired to do that, I just go for it. I really go for it. Now I sleep overnight on it, and if it still feels as good the next day, I go for it. And so within a week, I decided to move to Chicago. Within a week, 2 years ago, I decided to move to London, and then I used the universal laws, to make it happen in that short amount of time. I don't do it on my own. I apply many, many different things to allow this to become a reality.
Exactly,
I'm co-creating with the universe. I'm not alone in this.
Right, and I want to touch on that, because oftentimes people do feel very alone when they are going for something. They say, my family doesn't support me, or, I don't have any friends to support me, or whatever. Not realizing that, am I correct in thinking that when you make the decision to say, I want to move to London or I want to move to Chicago, that is a certainty within you, and that as soon as you get that certainty within you, everything sort of comes to you to support that decision?
Yeah, that's totally how it happens, but it can be difficult to get to that place of certainty. And so what I do when I'm not 100% certain, I feel it in my heart, it's wonderful, but if I speak about, the thing is that I don't always share it right up front with people around me. I do that online, but I won't do it to family and friends right away sometimes, because I find support within the 100-Day Challenge community that I have created. I find support on YouTube, I find support on the website, and with other like-minded people. But in reality, friends and family that are not really aligned with all of this, I just wait a little bit before telling them. And or I only tell to really close friends that I know will support this vision, because it's a fragile time. When you just put out an idea and your dream, you're very vulnerable in doing that. So you have to choose who you're going to speak to about it. And once there starts to be some proof of it and it starts manifesting, then I share it with the people right next to me. I don't want to hurt them. They do this because they want to protect you. They don't want to hurt. They don't want you to hurt. They don't want you to fail, etc. But I found out that once you really then get to the point where you so believe in it and you start having the results, some small results and everything, at some point you're just so aligned. And then everybody else in your life aligns, even some people that were not believing in this 10 years ago. And now of course, they're right behind you, and for me, like recently, the best is to have my parents following me on this dream and telling me that I can achieve this. I can have and host my own show. It's possible. For me, it was just the craziest thing to hear my mother embrace this and encourage me to do it. It was totally wild. It gives me wings right now, because I never heard of her being that proud and believing in me. But I've never believed so much in me either. So you see, it all goes hand in hand. So you have to find a way to get to that place.
Exactly. Now, I find that very interesting, because I had been going the exact opposite way, and I think that I'm sure that your way works better, because obviously it's manifested itself in your life of telling your online community before you tell the people that are right around you. Because I've always been, well, I can't say it online until I actually tell people, because I don't want them to find out third hand or whatever. But I think that you're right. It works better to go to the place where you have support first, and then take that bolstering back to
and it doesn't have to be online. This is, we all have our methods and things that work for us. You just have to nurture that dream and protect it and nurture it, and and speak to people and share it. You have to get it out. So find the right people to do that. For me, online is my family. It's my extended family. So this is where I dream. So it gives me wings when I do that. It expands. I tap into my soul, and it's a fantastic feeling. So I go for that. Whatever feels right.
Right.
Whatever feels right. We all have our methods.
We have to go to a break. We will be back in just 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. You are listening to Conversation Matters. This is Alai Leighland, your host, and we are interviewing Lilou Macé today, and she is going to have her own Oprah Winfrey Network show. And she's sharing with us today some of the things that she uses in order to make her life so magical. You know that here on Conversation Matters, one of the main things that we emphasize is that what you speak, what you write, what you think shapes your reality. And Lelu is a walking, talking, breathing example of that. Lelu, can you tell us just briefly what the 100-Day Challenge is and how that came about?
Yeah, I would love that. The 100-Day Challenge started in 2005 when I was living in Florida. and I was doing a lot of seminars at the time, self-development seminars, and with two friends of mine, Laura and Sandy, two authors, we decided to start the 100-Day Challenge to practice everything that we had learned from those seminars and put that in practice for 100 days and share our journey for 100 days. So we started that in 2005, and we just started just us three to test it and see if it works. And so for 100 days we declared our intentions and what we wanted to manifest, and some fantastic things happened. And we decided to take it online, and YouTube was just starting at the time, so we started posting some videos on YouTube and inviting other people to participate and declare for themselves, what they wanted to attract in their life, and it was just exceptional, and the connections that we had. And then the Secret came out, and Oprah aired The Secret, and then it became really big. And so a lot of people wanted to experience The Secret then, and then the community started growing and growing since then. But really, for 100 days, you practice the universal laws and principles. So at the beginning of the 100-Day Challenge, at the beginning of one season, you say what you want to attract, or what practices you're going to put in place. Some people want to attract money, some other people their life partner, find the job of their dreams, change career, quit their job, you name it. And then you blog and video blog along those 100 days, and then you share with the community your insights, your challenges, what worked, didn't work. So now it's a big community of nearly 6,000 members on co-creatingourreality.com. There is over 125 countries participating. And people start at any time. I'm starting a new season on June 27th, and
wow.
That's going to be season 16. So that means I did 15 times the 100-Day Challenge. So I've been practicing all this for 15 times 100, 1,500 days, and this is why I'm starting to get results, because I dedicate. This is the context in which I live my life. So I create each season some new intentions, and then I blog and video blog about it. So it really keeps me on track.
It's a way of speaking your word, of using your word, and then having other people see it as well as you see it, in order to keep you on track and to keep you focused forward into wherever it is that you set your intention to be. And you inspired me to do videos. Your video was one of the first ones I saw. And I saw your video, and I was like, well, you were driving in your car listening to Abraham in Chicago. And I thought, oh, wow, yeah, I can do that. And so when I started sharing with my students and, my clients and whatnot about this crazy woman who drives down the road listening to Abraham and does a movie of it and puts it on YouTube, another question that came up from people was, okay, she's talking about this stuff, because, of course, people went and watched your videos because I was talking about them. They go, she does this stuff. She puts these videos out. What is her spiritual practice? So, do you meditate every day? Do you, like, for example, when you started back in 2005, did you have any idea that you would be where you are right now? Does your you get the idea of where I'm going. Did your plan change? Did it start? Did you know where you were going then? How did that all come about?
I really do believe that I've attracted the 100-Day Challenge in my life, and I've attracted Sandy and Laura, and this is one piece of the puzzle, because I've always said I want to empower millions of people. I never knew where this was coming from, and I've always been very shy in front of an audience. And if you look back at my videos in 2005, very shy in front of a camera. So where was this coming from? Empower millions of people. I had no idea. And I was not coming from an ego place or, I want to empower millions. It's just, it really came to me as something, this is going to happen. And so I really believe the 100-day challenge is a big piece of that puzzle, because this has allowed me to experience every day and to test and to do videos and to attract so many things that are aligned with that. So, life is extraordinary like this. It's just, there's so much I have learned through the 100-day challenge, and I've always wanted to grow. I've always wanted to learn. I've always wanted to make a difference in the world, but I had no idea how to get there. And I think that's a very important thing, is to dream big and then allow the universe to bring whatever's needed to fulfill on that. You never know how it's going to look like. As soon as I started the 100-day challenge, as soon as I started doing those video blogs, and by the way, there's a lot of people participating that are reporting the same, is that you start being more and more comfortable in front of the camera, and people start improving their image, how they share and communicate. They start gaining confidence, and it has this ripple effect on their life. And so once you take a stand, once you put it out there really like that, and during one season declare some things that you want to attract, there's such a power in that. There's so much power in seeing yourself, say it, do the video, and post it online. I don't know what's up with that. It's really magical.
I have found it to be magical. I think the very first video that I posted online, I don't even remember what I said, but it was a challenge. I was doing the 100-day challenge that I posted that video, and I watched the video like 5 or 6 times, going, "Can I really post this? Can I really post this?"
Yeah. Exactly.
And then because I was like not real. I was afraid of what I thought of what I looked like.
Yeah. No, that's scary, and a lot of people won't even post a video. That's why we also have blogs for people that don't want a video blog, but we really encourage people to do video blogs, because that brings it to a whole other level. But some people don't have the courage to do this, but that's probably that exact same thing that they need to do, and it will just open doors and doors and doors in their life. So anybody listening right now, just do it, try it, and you can't even imagine the effect it's going to have on your life. And actually, you know what? The more scared you are, the more it means you should go in that direction. That's why I create big things, because I think big things. That's not how I want to put it, but that's how I'm an ordinary person, living an extraordinary life. One, because I'm grateful, but also because I go towards some things that there's just no clue how I'm going to make it happen. And I'm scared. And if I'm scared and uncomfortable, that's where I'm going.
Well, most of us seek out comfort, We're like, what is it? I think Tony Robbins says we'll do anything to seek pleasure and avoid pain.
Yeah.
And most people equate being scared with being in pain. So it's fascinating that you go toward the discomfort because you know that it's going to take you to the next place where, it's the next great adventure. Have you always been that way, or is that something that you developed, over, like, say, the last 10 years?
I've always been like that, but I develop it more and more now. And as I'm getting older, though, I have to say I have more resistance sometimes to do things like this. Like this last move to Chicago, I really got very, very scared before moving back. And I don't know what this was about. Once I was here, everything started opening up again. But we go through those motions. But if you just the best is to follow your heart and your gut feelings about it. And sometimes your mind can just not understand why you want to do this and why you want to make this move. Just go for it. Life, it makes it so exciting and so adventurous, and you really don't know what's going to happen, and you have to surrender to some levels. It's really exciting. It's really exciting.
The amount that you move, I mean, you have moved like 4 or 5 times in the last 2 years. Because you went from Chicago to London, you were on Abbey Road, and then you left Abbey Road, you went to another place in London, and then you had a workshop, and then you went to France, and so I'm guessing that you travel very light.
I do, and well, when I moved from the U.S. to Europe, I sold a lot of things, and I packed basically 7 boxes back to London. So then I was much lighter, and because the problem with the U.S. is that I got into this vicious circle of spending and of wanting to identify with external things, and so it was all about the car and what I was driving and wearing, and I wasn't really real, and I got really enrolled into all those credit cards and the lifestyle here, and I was young when I moved here. I was 23, so I felt like I needed all of it. And I worked hard, and I was self-employed, and I was making a lot of money, but I was spending a lot of money too. So when I moved back to Europe, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to move to London and to work for someone and have an experience working for someone, and this opportunity opened, and I thought, it was an opportunity to clean my act a little bit up. And I wasn't imagining that I would lose my job, and found myself in a situation 7 months later where I have no more job, and I left the U.S., and now what?
But I think that was the best thing that ever happened to you. We got to go to a break for the half hour, but I want you to tell us about that, because I think that was the best thing that ever happened to you. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Alai Leighland. You are listening to Conversation Matters, and our guest today is Lilou Macé. And for those of you who are just tuning in, I see more lines showing up on the switchboard. Lilou is going for a show on the Oprah Winfrey Network. If you guys haven't heard of it, it's OWN. Oprah is starting a network where she's going to have lots of different hosts and whatnot. Lilou is amazing. She has millions of views on YouTube, and she is now going for the big key. She's going for the big ring. And if you go to Lilou Macé, that's spelled LILOUMACE.com, and just vote for her there. There's a icon there where you can click and vote for her, because the more votes she gets, the more noticeable she is. So please go and vote for her. Lilou, you moved to Europe. You packed up all of your little bags, 7 boxes, sold your car. I remember the day you sold your car. You put up a YouTube about it. and then you ended up in Europe, in London, and you were on Abbey Road, walking down the road, taking video of the sidewalk. And you had this great job, but when you made that move, I was like watching you, and I'm going, no, don't do that, because to me it seemed like you were moving away from what I had thought was your dream, which was the inspiring millions of people and blah blah blah. But I think that you had to go there in order to get back here, of course, because everything we do gets us to where we are. But losing that job caused you to write your book. Yeah. And sometimes we have to go a little bit away from our dream to come back stronger. I had to have those 2 years of experience back in Europe to really appreciate what's happening right now. And appreciation brings your energy to a whole other level, and you're just an attracting magnet of greatness, and it's just a lot of fun. So I needed to, lose this job, write the book, and I went through a lot of ups and downs, a lot of downs. It was quite, I had quite a lot of dark moments like I've never had in my life before.
but those are needed. There's such you go so much deeper in your spiritual search and so much deeper at understanding who you are and what you're meant to do in the world, that when I, for example, lost this job, I was internet marketing director for a luxury hotel sales and marketing company. And I had accepted this position from Chicago. And then I became redundant. From the day to the next, I received this phone call from my boss, Peter Gold, very British Peter Gold, that called me and said, you know, this is the end. And I was shocked. I was really shocked, but at the same time, I felt so much relief because I knew this was inauthentic of me to be working for this company, and in parallel to do all those videos, and my heart was in the video, in the 100-day challenge, and this life that I had created and this career in marketing that was moving forward was just not it anymore. I was not fulfilled. I had, even when I was at time at my job, I was like, when is the day going to end? And that happened 2 times in 7 months, and that was huge. When I was looking at the clock, I was like, I can't wait to get out of here. And for me, that loved life, you know, and that loved everything and every moment of it, that was just the hardest thing to be present to. And so losing this job was very, very scary. It was more my ego really didn't like it at all, because I was like, and I had to walk in front of other employees, and and this was it. This was the end of the journey. I felt ashamed. I felt like I did something wrong, that I didn't reach, my intention, that I failed. I was the biggest loser, and what I was going to do now. Just all of that started crawling in, and so that was the moment where I said, you know what, I'm going to record all of this experience, and I'm going to practice everything that I had learned so far, and I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to find out what my dream job is, which I knew, it was about empowering millions of people, but I wanted to see how I could attract that and what it was going to look like.
Right.
And that's when I grabbed my dictaphone, my iPhone that had this little recording device on it, and I started recording every step of the way and how I'm going to change my mood, my negative thoughts to positive ones. What am I going to do to stay in the flow and bring in manifestation what I really want? And it became a book.
And that was a wonderful journey. The fact that you chronicle your experience is so valuable to so many people, because, like you said, you're an ordinary person living an extraordinary life. Most of us are ordinary people. I don't think that many of us are living extraordinary lives, but even the ones who are, they don't usually share them. So nobody knows that they are. Eventually somebody digs them up and, holds them up and says, look what this person has done when they're 200 years old and they're dead already. They did this and this and this and this and this, but nobody knew that they were doing it while they were doing it. And so the fact that you chronicle it in books and on video on YouTube and now on the Oprah Winfrey Network, I think helps other people who think that they're ordinary and that they can't do extraordinary things. It inspires them to be able to step out and do that.
Yeah, and I think it's really our role to share as much as possible and authentically with others around us what's going on, and use the internet now to share that and find the support that we need, and also just share that, because then another person is going to see something within them, and then they're going to do another video that is going to connect with another person, and then before you know it, we're going to be transformed. All of it.
Exactly. And the transformation then will lead us to another adventure. So it's you back in, and this is going to go through a break, so we're probably going to have to, you'll start answering the question and then you'll finish it on the other side of the break. But 5 years ago, you wanted to go on to the Oprah Winfrey Show. You wanted to be in the audience. And you kind of spoke that, I think you spoke it first online, and then again, just like you did for everything else, the world sort of spun around you in order to make that happen. So can you share with us, for those people who are probably going to listen to this on iTunes and don't know who you are and have often wanted to be on Oprah, how you did that?
How it's magic again. It's pure. I don't know because I do know now, but it's just. I went on had dinner with Brian, a new friend of mine in Chicago, and I had just arrived in Chicago, and we were having dinner really close by the Harpo studio, and at the time I didn't even know we were a block away. So I got really excited when I saw the Harpo studios, and I was like, man, this is where Oprah is recording her show. I'm like, wow. So I'm like, Brian, take a picture of me. So that was already it, I was already at the top of the world and the mountain at that point. I had my arms open, and I'm like, Papa, I'm in front of Harpo studio, yes. And the next day, I was just so excited about that picture. I'm like, I have to, I'm going to do a video about it. So here I am doing in season 3 of the 100-Day Challenge, and now I'm at season 16. So season 3 in October, end of October 2006. I'm like, I declare that by the end of this year, I will be in the audience of the Oprah show. And you can still see this video online on YouTube. And it's so funny to watch back, and then 2 days later, Brian just bumped into Oprah herself in a hotel here in Chicago as she was visiting Barbara Streisand, and he found himself inside the elevator with Oprah and her bodyguard, like right there in that moment. Oprah is not the kind of person you bump into every day in Chicago.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, she goes to the gym at East Bank Club. Before you used to see her in the morning. I actually took a membership there. I was going to some places where I could potentially see her, but it never happened, but here it was like just the synchronicity and the magic happened in a way that Brian found himself in front of her and said, well, I just met Lelu, and her dream is to meet you one day. And Oprah loves that word, dream word. Like, as soon as you say this word, she just she lights up and she wants to help and she wants to do whatever she can. She's like this godmother,
Right.
So there she offered 2 tickets for us to go the next day in the Oprah show in the audience.
Wow.
So I was when Brian called me, I was in shock, and I didn't want to believe it until I was actually seated in the show, and then she invited us backstage, like on national TV. She said, "Where's Brian that I met last night? And are you with your friend Lelu?"
Oh my goodness!
And I was like, yeah, hello, Miss Oprah. I couldn't say a word. I've never been so intimidated of my life, and I'm not the kind of person that gets intimidated, but this one, I was in awe. I was just, and the show was on Dream Job. I mean, I shared this story many times. Probably people that have been listening to my videos for a long time are sick of the story. But this is so extraordinary and such a great example of how one synchronicity leads to the next. Because the show was on Dream Jobs. So the show, in this show, Oprah was explaining how and what is her life like, what she does, and how busy her life is, and how it is working with the camera and with the audience and this and that. So
my God.
It's perfect. It couldn't be any better.
Okay, we got to go to break. I want to hear more about that because I didn't see the show that you were on. I've just seen your video about it. So when we come back from break, we'll have about 12 minutes left. I want to hear what that show was about because I didn't know that. So hang on. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Alai Leighland. You are listening to Conversation Matters, and our guest today is Lilou Macé, and she is telling us about the show that you were on with Oprah, and that it was a show about dream jobs. So finish telling us about that.
Yeah, so the show was on Dream Job, and Oprah was explaining what she does for a living. And I think there's no coincidence. I was there on that day for that show, on the first time I've ever been in the audience, and I've always spoke about this woman so highly, and she's always been an inspiration. Not like a fanatic. I've never been a fanatic, Oprah fanatic, you know, and always looking at watching the shows or anything like that. Actually, in the videos back then, I couldn't even pronounce her name correctly. So she was really just a person that I was like, whoa, how, you know, something about her that I couldn't even explain. And and so that show was such a, that's why I was between intimidation to see her, and I was in gratitude, I was in awe. I was just like, wow. And I got so clear that I had that in me too. You know, I'm like, this is what I want to do. I don't know how, and I've never studied that, and I'm doing a little video blog, but this is, I want to do what this woman is doing. I could feel the oneness. I felt the mirror effect, you know, all of it.
Right.
And I dreamed big, but this was crazy. And it just woke up in me something. My spirit, my soul, just like, yes, 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 yes. And since then, I've always trying to get as much experience around that as I could. So I went back in the audience 4 times. The Oprah show, it was not just to see Oprah. It was not to see Oprah. It was to see how she was doing with the camera. It was to see the light and how the team was working together, etc. Because the next day, after being in the audience of the show and being backstage with her and having the picture and all that, I decided to have my own show in Chicago. Of course. I mean, this was the next day. So I looked online and I did a 2-hour search, and I'm like, am I going to do a class to learn how to do this? And then I bumped into CAM TV, which is cable TV in Chicago, and everybody can have their show.
Right.
So I saw that there was an introduction course, and then 2 days later I was in the class and learning how to be a producer, a semi-beginner producer to learn how to use the camera and all this, and I put a team together. And by the end of the year, we had already shooted our first episode. And in January 2007, the first show was airing on TV in Chicago, cable TV.
Fantastic. And that is such a wonderful service for people to dream, because I had a show in Tucson, and then I had one briefly here in Hawaii that was on cable television. And it's a wonderful experience, and it gives everyone a stage, and I think that's so important, because, and I really think that what Oprah is doing with the OWN network, you know, the Oprah Winfrey Network that you're going to be a host on, you know, all the people who have said, I mean, almost everybody in the metaphysical community has a dream of being on Oprah. If Oprah did a show every hour, every day for the rest of her life, she couldn't interview all the people who want to be on Oprah. However, with the OWN network, it actually might be able to happen. Because there's like all of these different hosts. There's going to be you, and you're doing the wild card, and somebody else is doing a traditional show, and somebody else is doing whatever. So, you know, there's 24 hours of programming and however many hosts. So all of a sudden, all these people who have dreamed of being on Oprah will be on Oprah. And in a place that is a whole lot more appropriate for them, because some of them have like really out there stuff going on. And it's not the kind of thing that she would interview herself, but it is the kind of thing that people who watch her would be interested in. Yeah. And so I just think that this is awesome.
Yeah, it is. The Oprah Winfrey Network is going to be a huge, huge platform for change, and I really want to be part of this team. I feel like Oprah right now is calling her team. You know, it's like the horn is blowing. It's like, come here. You know, it's just a calling. It really feels like a calling, and it's fantastic what she's up to. And it's going to be big. It's going to be a big movement for change. And really, my desire is that we go mainstream and big with all the spiritual conversations, and we make it trendy and fun and accessible for everyone and really practical. So I'm really, really, really excited, and there's just so many synchronicities that led me to this place that If I open my heart and keep on aligning myself with this and vibrating and being authentic, nothing is going to stop me to get there.
Absolutely. And I want to remind everybody again, if you're listening to this before July 3rd, go to liloumace.com, LILOUMACE.com, and vote for Lilou.
Yeah, and often if you want, you just go, you click, and you go on the click button, the green one, and then you go back green, ding, ding, and there's so much support. Actually, there is even a Facebook page. If you search for my name on Facebook, or if you type OWN, OWN vote, VOT, you probably you probably will find the Facebook page is dedicated to that. So there's some people that are really, I have right now 60,000 votes or so, but there's some, I have a lot of supporters and people supporting this. And Friday, I'm driving to Atlanta.
Oh, that's right. And so we're all going to hold just the highest thoughts for you on your trip to Atlanta for your live audition. So that is so amazing. And, of course, you're going to chronicle that on YouTube for us, too.
All of it. I'm actually taking the camera with me for the little road trip. I want to go cowboy dancing, too.
Oh!
I want to go line dancing, and I want to go on this bull, you know, those fake bulls that they have in the bar and do rodeo. I've always wanted to do that.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, we've got 4 minutes left. I have one question in particular that I want to ask you, because this is something that I want to know. What inspires you? What makes you go, oh, my God?
Life.
Life
itself inspires me. It's this dance is beautiful. Everything, there's unlimited, extraordinary possibilities. I'm inspired by small things, and it's such a, I get such, when I hear that kind of question, it's so big, you know, I get to such a place of wow, how do I get excited? I don't know, I just am. I am being excited about life and expecting big things to happen. So then life brings the elements so that it nurtures my excitement and joy. You know, it's the attitude, it's opening to being inspired, to finding life inspiring, and then I'm inspired in return. Whatever you want, you know, you have to be that already, and it just happens.
So for the people who are out there who are saying, oh my God, her life is so magical, you know, she's living full throttle, she's full out, she does everything that she wants to do. What would you tell them if they said, well, I want to do that, but I don't know how? What would their first step? Go for it.
I say go for it. Take the first step. Really, please take that first step. You can think about it as long as you want. It's not going to make a difference. Just go and take that first step. Whatever you know exactly what it is, what feels right. Just do it. You might be scared of it, but do it. You never know what's behind it. I know it feels sometimes like jumping off of a cliff, and those are the same things that will create magic in your life. So just take that first step. Really take it.
Okay. One more question. Somebody wants to know if you are, they want to know if you are still eating only raw food.
No, I'm not. And I was for a year, and I do miss that. It's been quite difficult to keep up with that. I eat now probably 80%, 70% raw food.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's close to 100%. But at the time I did 100%, I have to say that my energy was constant and just beautiful. But not anymore 100%. I found the right balance, just eating a bit of meat too and a bit of berries, not much, but just a little bit. And the rest is raw food.
Fantastic. Well, you know, it's kind of whatever works for you, but I think I had Dan McDonald on a few weeks ago, and so some of the audience is Dan McDonald fans, and so they're going, is she a raw food person? We are just about out of time. Lilou Mace, LillouMace.com. Go and vote. Go listen to her videos. She will inspire you to fly. Thank you so much, Lilou. I want to have you back on because we have to talk about what happened during the audition and then what you're planning for your first episodes.
Yes, I'll be back.
Absolutely.
Thank you, and I want to say mahalo.
Aloha and mahalo to you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the end of our show. It went really fast. We're going to close out with The Land of I Am and Ricky Byers-Beckwith. Have a fabulous day. I am your host, Alai Leighland, and it is my pleasure to bring you uplifting topics that teach the art of manifesting, spiritual